Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Goat Chat podcast. We are so excited for all of you to be here. I'm Michael Boyd. This is Matt Kane, Tommy Mamau, and Connor Wood. We're all excited for you to be here and to watch us. And, we just want to provide some great content for you guys. We're all sports media students from Ithaca College, and we're all just looking to, make us media content in sports, and so this is one of the ways we're going about it. We're making our own podcast. We're really excited to get started. So, well, guys, introduce yourselves. How about you, Matt? Tell us a little about yourself.
My name is Matt Kane. I'm from Syracuse, New York. Huge Packers fan. I live and breathe for it. I'm a huge sports fan. As you'll see, I'm less of a fan of baseball, but my other partners here are huge.
Tommy.
Yeah, so I'm from Utica, New York, and unlike Matt, I'm a big baseball fan, big Yankee fan. Hoping we'll be able to start up baseball soon.
How about you, Connor?
So I'm from upstate New York. I'm near Albany, New York. I'm from a small town named Coxsackie, and similar to Matt, I'm big on football. I'm a Jets fan. I know it's hard times right now, but I'm also a Yankees fan with baseball, so we got that going. Me and Tommy, Yankees fans. Just excited to get some media content out there. Excited to get the voices out there. Excited to do it with these guys. Let's get going.
I'm excited too. I'm ready to get rolling. And I'll tell a little bit about myself too. I'm Michael Woody. I'm from Mount Kisco, New York. That's probably about an hour above New York City, in Westchester County. Big sports fan. My teams are kind of all over the place. I'm sure we'll get into that
too, but
one day. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of like all kind of sports, but I'm just ready to get into it. Let's get into our first topic of the day. So our first topic of the day is the coronavirus. Obviously, it's the whole reason why we're all apart from each other right now, and it's affecting not only the sports world but everyone in general, with this whole social distancing thing. So I was just thinking that we could get our thoughts going about the coronavirus and how it's affecting us and how it's affecting sports, and give us your thoughts on how all the sports leagues will continue to proceed going forward. Let's start off with you, Connor.
So I'll start off. So just in general with the coronavirus, with all of us being from New York and New York being the hardest hit, it's a really scary time right now living here, not knowing what tomorrow's going to bring, what kind of numbers are in your town, all that stuff. So it's just it's scary. As far as the sports aspect of it, when sports stopped, it was crazy seeing
it was so weird
on the New York Times, seeing that the day that the sports world stopped. It's just, I mean, we're living history right now, and I mean, we have players out there like Von Miller getting the coronavirus, and I mean, luckily for him, he did beat it.
But Rudy Gobert started the whole thing. He was the first domino to fall. As soon as he got the coronavirus, just everything started.
And him mocking it by coughing all over the microphones and everything. It shows how 2 months ago it was this little deal, and now we're in a global pandemic. I mean, just how quickly that spread.
Mm-hmm. A fan got it from him too. Remember that he signed somebody's basketball, and then they got it too.
Yeah.
So
I do remember that.
I mean, it kind of just shows Rudy Gobert he didn't take it seriously, and I mean, what goes around comes back around.
And I mean, Donovan Mitchell has also commented on how his and Rudy Gobert's relationship is going to be the same for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Well, I was really shocked when trade rumors came out about that. If I'm being honest, is it really that serious? I get it. Honestly, I don't know anyone personally that has the coronavirus, even though I'm in the second most dense coronavirus hotspot in the whole United States. But I don't think it's too much of a big deal to the point where you got to blow up this whole thing. Because I thought the Jazz had a really good thing going with him, Gobert, and Mike Conley. Even though Mike Conley has kind of underperformed this season, I thought it was going to be a little bit more. I honestly thought the Jazz were the best team behind the Lakers and the Clippers in the West going into the season, but obviously they aren't because Mike Conley hasn't been able to produce. But Yeah, so that was really shocking to me. Do you guys think that's a fair assessment that obviously we don't know exactly how they feel about each other, but do you think it's fair enough to the point where one of them would need to be traded?
Definitely. I think that it makes me think that, what could have been happening behind closed doors, like maybe they didn't have a good relationship anyway, or maybe they've been talking and Mitchell feels like the Jazz are not going the right way, or vice versa with Gobert. I mean, it definitely could just be the coronavirus thing, but I would not say no to it being something bigger than it.
I would say as far as basketball as a sport, morale and team chemistry is a huge deal. And when you have someone in your locker room who's like that, who's not taking this type of stuff seriously and coughing on microphones you're about to go talk into and all that stuff, like it definitely bolsters your team chemistry in a negative aspect. And when you have that negative team chemistry, it's going to be very hard to build that back up. And I mean, you never know what could happen 2-3 years down the line. Once one of them gets traded or they're a free agent, like what could come out about what their true relationship was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think I agree with you guys that it can definitely hurt the team chemistry, but I think it also could have been a thing in the heat of the moment where everybody was obviously upset about what had happened, and he put everybody in risk. But at the same time, they'll move past it, I think, and I think that he's sorry for it and they can move on.
I mean, and it's still a question about if Donovan Mitchell had, family members that could be easily affected by this, because that could definitely create a big rift between the two of them.
Yeah, because Carl Anthony's mom got coronavirus and she passed due to coronavirus complications. So rest in peace to her. So I think Donovan was more worried about his family more than himself.
Yeah.
Because I know his father was older and I know that he was living with his father, and thankfully his father didn't get the coronavirus. But I do agree with Tommy. I think it was more of like a heat of the moment thing. You know what I mean? And obviously, like Matt said, we don't necessarily know what their relationship was beforehand, because we never really know. Like, for example, thank God we have this Last Dance documentary going on right now, or else I don't know what I would be doing on my Sunday night. I would probably just be bored like usual. So you guys want to kind of...
I haven't watched it. I'm going to be honest. I have not watched it.
No, I have not. I haven't seen any of it.
I've heard so many good things about it. I haven't watched it.
Tommy, have you seen it?
I have watched it, not the whole thing, but I've seen the majority of it, and I think it's great. It's definitely good to have something sports related, something new to talk about. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but it's been fun.
Mm-hmm. I feel like regardless, like, I mean, I'm a pretty big basketball fan, but I feel like regardless, it's really interesting to get a look inside on like probably, in my opinion, the greatest just general athlete of all time. You got Michael Jordan, you got Tiger Woods, you got Michael Phelps, Usain Bolt. I could even throw Tom Brady in there. 6 championships as well. So I just think, what was that look, Matt?
Yeah, we can talk about that later.
Oh, okay.
In another show, maybe.
What about Derek Jeter? You didn't bring up any baseball people.
Come on.
I mean, Babe Ruth. I mean, Derek Jeter's pushing a little bit. I mean, greatest athlete of all time.
Oh, no. I mean, Derek's not, I
don't think he's on that level. You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, I'm curious. I know Mike obviously thinks MJ or LeBron, guys.
MJ.
I'm kind of leaning towards LeBron.
It's
Why?
Because the competition was so much more different.
Competition.
What do you mean?
The super team. We got Durant, Thompson, and Curry on one team.
Okay, but that was for 2 years, and those were I'm just probably scratch off those finals, right? Especially the second time around when they got swept. Obviously, they could have had a chance to win the first game if JR didn't just blow the game.
Then you think about I don't know. I'm not 100% on it. I'm kind of leaning towards LeBron. But I'm a believer that as time goes by, there's going to be a new greatest player. It's just going to keep going. You could say Joe Montana was like Joe Montana was obviously, well, not obviously, but he was definitely one of the greatest players. And then Tom Brady stepped into the picture. Aaron Rodgers stepped in the picture. Patrick Mahomes is stepping into the picture. So I just think it's going to change as time goes by.
I mean, I'm sure, but actually, no, Connor, go ahead. I saw you were about to say something.
Well, it's actually fun. I was going to segue into the NFL there, but if you have one final thought, why don't we hear what you got to say?
I was just gonna say that the reason people are perceiving Tom Brady as better than Joe Montana right now is because it's 6 championships to 4. It's a difference in winning. Okay, with LeBron, it's not a difference in winning. Michael stopped many other superstars from getting a Finals championship. LeBron only stopped other people in the Eastern Conference to getting to the championship. He didn't stop Tim Duncan from getting championships. He didn't stop Steph Curry from getting championships. So he didn't stop Dirk from getting championships. That horrible meltdown in 2011. So, I mean, obviously.
If you remember that 2011 Miami Heat season, that was the first year they were together. And at the All-Star break, they were under 500, and they battled back to the finals.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I feel like that's a big common thing with LeBron teams. Like, even the first year he went back to Cleveland, like, they were like 500 through the first half of the season, too. So, obviously, we could dig more deep into that later. But go ahead, Connor. What do you have to say about moving into the NFL?
So, I would just like to move into the National Football League, and we're all sports fans. We saw on Thursday that the schedules came out, and after seeing the schedules, I just wanted to see what everyone thought about some early season predictions. Who's your dark horses? Who's your favorites? Who do you think could be an honorable mention or an underdog? Matt, we can start with you.
My favorite, and I'll start with the NFC. My favorite, I wish my favorite was the Green Bay Packers, but I'm just going to be a realist right now. I think my favorite's the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees is probably on his last year. He's going to give it everything he's got. As far as dark horses, I like the Arizona Cardinals. I think Hopkins might be able to help Murray enough to get them to the playoffs. I don't know, because it's 7 teams in the playoffs.
Well, are we talking about dark horses for the playoffs or dark horses to make the Super Bowl? Because if we're talking about Super Bowl, don't even include the Cardinals.
No, definitely not. Dark horse for the Super Bowl, I would go with
like winning the NFC.
Winning the NFC, the NFC conference, dark horse.
So you think the Saints right now, obviously.
The Saints are definitely my favorite. I think that I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say the Eagles. I think
I'll throw out a dark horse here that Mike's going to like. I'm going to go with Dallas.
Hell yeah.
Dallas, and I have a couple reasons for that. Mike McCarthy getting his first full year there. They finally got away from Jason Garrett. That clap.
Put a bat over that.
Connor, boy.
All right, go ahead with Jason Garrett.
Adding CeeDee Lamb in the draft. I think they had a great draft.
Yeah, I can't believe CeeDee Lamb fell.
The way he fell, it was incredible. But you know that you see McCarthy, you see CeeDee Lamb, you see them, that offensive line, you see Dak, you see Zeke. But then you guys still remember at the end of the day, they're still the Dallas Cowboys. They've had some of the best teams in the league the last 5 years, and how many times have they gone over 8-8?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, last year was the only year that they've been 8-8 since like that stretch where Garrett had that 3 8-8s in a row. So, but Tommy, go ahead before I just unload.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go with the 49ers to win it all. They have a good defense coming back, and what was the other thing?
Good run game.
Yeah, Tommy, I definitely agree with Tommy that the 49ers could be a favorite. My hot take is I don't think the 49ers are going to be as good as they were last year.
I agree.
I think they're kind of like a one-and-done team maybe, to put it that way, but they could definitely make it back to the Super Bowl.
I'd say my favorite. Dallas was my dark horse. My favorite is probably Kansas City, because simply like they didn't really have to add anyone in free agency to still stay very.
Yeah, Edwards-Helaire. That was I like that.
That's I was just about to comment on that. Is that the running back that they took, Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I think he could be a Pro Bowler his rookie season. He's going to jump right into that starting role, and I think he's going to excel in their system.
What about the NFC? So you think obviously the Chiefs are going to win like the whole thing? What about the NFC?
The
NFC's so hard. Like they always switch around. It's so
I'm
weird.
gonna
It's
I'm
just
gonna
so
go
competitive. I
against
feel
Matt.
like the AFC, you got the Chiefs, the Ravens, and
I'm
that's
Yeah.
it.
gonna go against Matt here, and I'm gonna say Tampa Bay.
I was out. I think they might be a dark horse for me.
I'm gonna say Tampa Bay simply because of the fact that it's Tom Brady and Gronk reuniting. He has Mike Evans there. He has Godwin there. He has a solid team all around him. And I mean, you look at the New England teams that he won championships with, and who are his receivers? Now that he has these genuine wide receivers, what's going to stop that?
Well, one thing about Tampa Bay, they definitely don't have that Belichick defense. You know what I mean? You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I think that the defense really saved the Patriots last year.
Oh, 100%. It was the offense that dragged him down. But I'm just curious to see what Brady can do. You know what I mean? I feel like Gronk won't make that big of an impact. If I was Bruce Arians, I would start OJ Howard over Gronk. I think he's just faster, just obviously more athletic. He's younger. But I feel like Gronk is. I feel like the only reason they got Gronk was obviously because of Brady. So I think he's going to be more of a safety blanket for Brady than a main target, because they already have Godwin, Mike Evans on the outside, two Pro Bowl wide receivers. So why would you give it to some 33-year-old tight end who can't run that well anymore? And he
Another
just took a
question.
year off.
Yeah. Another question you could bring up is how much control is Brady going to have in regards to that kind of stuff? Because I remember that they were talking about Brady wanted control with roster changes or something. I can't remember, but he obviously brought Gronk on the team. He's definitely going to want him starting.
I completely agree with you, Matt, there. And I could my honorable mention for a team in the NFC, Matt, you're gonna appreciate this. It is the Packers. Second year with Matt LaFleur at the head. I mean, you saw what he did. He's a younger coach, and you saw what he did in his first year. And now the Packers definitely put some pressure on Rodgers drafting Jordan Love in the first round. Rodgers is going to have to prove himself. He's going to have to do what Brett Favre couldn't when Rodgers was behind him. And if he can't prove himself, then I mean Jordan Love's the next guy up. But I think Rodgers is really going to have one of his best seasons of his career this year.
I mean, one of Favre's last – might have been Favre's last season on the Packers. They made it to the conference championship and lost to the Giants, but he really pushed it, and I think that maybe Rodgers could definitely push it even farther. The only problem that I have with that is the defense really didn't change. I mean, you got Christian Kirksey on the free agents, which was a good pickup, but just drafting Jordan Love it doesn't sit with me because Patrick Queen was on the board, and obviously a wide receiver we could have used one, but it is what it is.
Where did Patrick Queen land?
Ravens.
The Baltimore Ravens.
Good pickup for them.
The Ravens had a really good draft.
So, I'll mention who I think right now is going to win each conference, and I'll pick a dark horse for the Super Bowl. So, I think right now, obviously, like I said before, it's between the Ravens and the Chiefs battling out for the AFC. I think the Ravens got a lot better defensively ever since they blew that game at home against Tennessee in the playoffs, where Derrick Henry just ran the ball down their throats. I mean, it was just miserable. You guys have seen that clip of him stiff arming Earl Thomas, right? And he just spun around like Earl Thomas. So I thought Patrick Queen was a great pickup. Calais Campbell on the defensive line from the Jaguars. That was an amazing pickup, only for like a later round pick. And I thought the rest of the draft was really good, but I'm not sure. I think I still got to pick the Chiefs. They have the pedigree, and with Edwards-Helaire, I think they're going to be, it's going to be like they have Kareem Hunt back. You know what I mean?
A 2P is hard, Michael.
What?
A 2P is hard. I mean, you barely see
it's hard.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. It's a toss-up. Obviously things can change throughout training camp and throughout the season, but they still have Tyrann Mathieu. They still have Chris Jones. And, we'll see what happens. I think the Ravens are definitely a better overall team, but I just think Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, I mean, they're just so good. They're just too good offensively. I don't know who's going to stop them, but I'll move on. You you got something to say, Connor?
Yeah, I was just saying a team in the AFC that a lot of people aren't giving enough attention to. Who I was talking about Matt about this before we came on was the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen really had a breakout season last year. He bolstered up his game, and you add him Stephon Diggs. You give him they added some key players on defense as well. I after looking at their schedule, I think they're going to win 12 games, and you can call that a hot take if you want. I think Buffalo's going to control the AFC East for the foreseeable future, and that's going to be a Jets fan.
That take is burning hot.
I don't think that takes burning hot.
Okay, like
Look who's in their division. Like, no respect to the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Jets, but I don't think they're that great. I think the Bills will go at least 4-2 in the division. I don't think that's hard to do, and they have a second place schedule because the Patriots won the division last year. So I don't think 12-4 is out of reach. I would say more in the range of like 11-5, 10-6.
that's what I was saying.
But I don't think the thought that they could go 12-4 is out of this world.
So the AFC East is what I'm waiting for to watch, because I think that the Patriots, my hot take, I don't know if it's hot or not, I think they're still going to be good. I just think that they need a system quarterback. Don't get me wrong.
I don't know what Stidham's going to do. We got to see Stidham. That's
definitely.
the end of the story.
He threw one pass last year, and it was a pick six to Jamal Adams.
Yeah. I mean,
Thank you, Connor.
obviously Belichick loves him. He calls him Stid. You know, his boy Stid.
I think that the Patriots, unfortunately, are still going to be good. Probably a playoff team, but I would not shoot down the Dolphins. I think that with Tua being healthy, I think that they could definitely be a good team.
I think the Jets, like,
That was
honestly,
going to be my last
the Jets
thing.
could go like 9-7, 10-6. And, you know, you could come at me for this, but I think Adam Gase is a really good coach. Obviously, last year, he started off like, 1-6 last year, and he finished 7-9. That's pretty impressive.
Sam Darnold played a tremendous second half of the season.
Exactly. And I think you could attribute some of that to Adam Gase. You know, he made Ryan Tannehill work in Miami, especially that 1 year when they went 10-6 and unfortunately lost to the Steelers in the playoffs. But I think Adam Gase can make it work. I think he's a really good underrated coach. Everyone hates on him, but I think that he can really take the Jets to the next level. And they have a good defense. You know, they just got that tackle from Louisville, who's an absolute beast. And I think if Sam Darnold continues his progression, you know, I could totally see them making the playoffs, especially with this new format.
I think the biggest thing that they have to rely on, too, is the running game, because with Le'Veon Bell, they didn't rely on him too much last season.
I agree.
And
He's screwed over my fantasy
now
team.
they have added Frank Gore. And if you
Screw
think
every fantasy team.
if you think back to the 2010, 2011 Jets, when they had LaDainian Tomlinson and Sean Green, that's kind of that 1-2 punch that I think they're trying to set up again here. And, I mean, it got them to the AFC Championship then with Mark Sanchez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. I just want to say who I think is gonna win the NFC. Obviously, I would want my Cowboys to win the NFC. If no one knew, I'm a Cowboys fan, but obviously, I don't know. I just have like PTSD from last season where they came so close in so many games, they just absolutely blew it, which is kind of like uncharacteristic of Dak, I think, because he's won so many close games in the past. But I think I really hope Mike McCarthy, like what you said, Connor, I think they do have a good chance. Like if everything falls together, because they always have the talent. They always have the talent, which is weird because I feel like when they had Romo, they necessarily didn't have the talent. But when they have Dak now, they have the talent. They just got to get it done. So I think they're my dark horse. I don't think that they're going to win it because, you know, obviously Cowboys will do Cowboys things, as much as it pains for me to say, but honestly, I'm not too sure. I'm not high in the Packers. Like I was saying before this podcast that Donald Driver is going to have to come out of retirement and play wide receiver number 3 for the Packers. So I don't think it's them. Obviously, I think the 49ers will have a good season, but I don't know. I'm kind of liking the Bucks. Not gonna lie. I think the Saints just choke in the playoffs. I think it's going to come down to the Seahawks and the Bucks. So I think that's it. But I think we should move on to talk about the MLB for a little bit more in Tommy's lane. So Tommy,
let's pass it over to Tommy. Let's get him.
Yeah, Tommy. So
Tommy, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, on like when
Well,
do you think the leagues are going to come back, and what are your kind of like earlier predictions for it? Obviously not early anymore, but so.
yeah. Well, so the proposal is supposed to come out this week from Major League Baseball to the Players Union. And what I saw last night was that the proposal is currently between 78 and 82 games, probably more towards 82 games is what they're thinking at this point. And around a July 1st start date is what they're hoping for. Jeff Passan thinks that's a little optimistic. I kind of agree with him on that. I'm thinking maybe towards the middle of July, but I saw something today that said that the owners want to reduce salaries significantly in the players union. They said that they're prepared for a war to fight the owners. So I don't know. That could push things back, but what do you guys think?
I haven't been following this whole speculation. I have been following this all that closely. I don't know exactly what the proposal is. I know parts of it because I take a public communication class at Ithaca College, and I am writing my last speech on the MLB proposal. So I mean, I've kind of got a little bit of a gist of it. I don't see baseball being played this season.
Oof,
All right.
that's a hot take.
I
That's
see.
an unfortunate hot take.
I
I
wouldn't
have
even call it hot though. I mean, it's unfortunate, and I love baseball. How are you going to put 25 players in a dugout? How are
Yeah,
you going to have an umpire and a catcher right next to each other?
no,
Well,
and I
Korea's
do agree
Korea's
with that.
doing it now
I mean,
with the fake fans.
if I think if baseball doesn't play, I don't think any sports will play then. In that case,
I agree.
Yeah, I
because
do
in my
think-
opinion, I feel baseball is the least contact out of all of them. Well, obviously, but
yeah.
go
And
ahead, Tommy.
with the dugout thing, though, they have talked about that, like players would sit in the stands because there likely wouldn't be fans for most of the season, maybe in the postseason. But that'd be weird, though, seeing everybody sitting down in the stands.
But
I
then
don't know.
my question with that is, as far as TV, how much longer does that extend a baseball game, having them have to get out of their seats in the stands to then go up to bat, and then all the players having to get out of the stands to then get out to the field? How much longer does that extend that TV time, which, I mean, could bring out so many more costs for the MLB?
Yeah, well, I mean, like players would be in the dugout, but it's just like, during games, the dugouts are filled with pitchers that aren't pitching that day. So they would sit in the stands. But, like the manager, he would still be in the dugout, and some of the coaches and some players could be there, but they want to try to maintain the social distance. But I agree with what you're saying, though, because whenever, like, every time that the batter's up, the batter and the catcher aren't 6 feet apart, and the catcher and the umpire definitely aren't 6 feet apart. And then when you touch the ball, like that spreads germs that way. So, no, I do agree with you, but I think we'll get baseball back, but, I'm optimistic.
I also think that we will eventually get baseball back. Honestly, it's kind of hard to say July 1st because everything has been pushed back to this point. I mean, sometime in August, I think, I think the beginning of August is more ideal. Obviously, right now it's May, so who knows? A lot of stuff can happen in 2 months, as you've seen with the coronavirus. Maybe it could totally flip flop, right? But I think July to August is a good starting point. I think we will. I really hope we do, and I think that extended TV time won't really matter because everyone is just like, especially us, we're so deprived of sports. We don't even care how long it is. We'll watch someone walk all the way down from the upper deck. Like, as long as like Mike Trout batting or something, like, honestly, who cares? Like, we just want some type of sport back. So, and also to mention what Tommy said about the fans. Last night I watched UFC 249. I'm not sure if you guys watched it, but
I saw a little.
you followed a little. So they had it in Jacksonville, Florida, and they had no fans in the stands. And it was like kind of weird at first, but like they kind of gave you like more of like a intimate like interaction with like the actual like the game and the sport. because I also
Intimate. What are you falling in love with these guys?
well, no, I'm saying like it feels like you're like right there. You know what I mean? You could like feel the sound of like every
Yeah, I
like
get what you mean.
like when like every like leg kick connects. And I remember I saw a clip on Instagram the other day of Adam Jones of that one time they had no fans in Baltimore. He just absolutely cracked a home run, and just the sound of the bat sounded so sweet. So I think it would be a little bit weird for like the first couple of games, but it's not going to stop anyone from watching it.
I mean, you know how it's weird it's gonna be like when you're watching a sport and like one of the players just gets like mad and he starts like swearing or something or like starts screaming. Like I remember one game, Aaron Rodgers mouthed like the F bomb, and you could like barely hear it. Like imagine if it was now with no fans, it would just it'd be like hilarious, but like at the same time awful.
Well, Carmelo Anthony does it all the time in basketball. Whenever he gets a rebound, he's like, give me that effing board." No, yeah, I think those sounds would be amplified a little bit, but
You'll hear like coaches talking to players. I just think that part would be cool.
yeah, like what they were doing with like the XFL when they like each player had like mic, and the reporters were on the sideline. So who knows? It might be like that, but like we talked about in our media industries class, that TV actually isn't like technically live. It's like 5 to 10 seconds behind. So if they ever do swear on live TV, they could just cut out the sound. So I think that's what they're going to do. But, obviously we'll even see if it's back in the first place. So
I think that is a good transition time to get into our final topic, which is where our name comes from. And we're each going to have our GOAT of the week. So GOAT for sports fans, greatest of all time. So we're each going to give someone or a group of people some recognition, and we're going to give the reason why they're our GOAT of the week. So Matt, why don't you start?
My goat of the week is Alex Smith. He just turned 36 Thursday, I'm pretty sure. And I saw a post on Instagram of him training to come back into the NFL. Obviously, he broke his leg in 2017, I think. No, 2018, my bad. And he had 17 operations, and it was just – I saw Project 11, which was like 2 weeks ago. So he's going to be my goat of the week. Just really hope that he can make a come back to the NFL. He was a great guy, great player.
Tommy?
Yeah, my goat of the week are going to be all the first responders all over the country that have been doing great work, helping everybody that's been affected by this pandemic. And, they're helping us getting closer back to normal, and hopefully we'll be back there soon.
Michael?
So my goal of the week is going to be Justin Gaethje, who upsetted Tony Ferguson last night for I don't know how many years, at least 5 years now. Ferguson and Khabib have been planned out to fight. Khabib is his championship right now, and Tony Ferguson was the number one guy. He was the number one contender, but Justin Gaethje just destroyed him last night. It was really insane. By the end of the match, he was just throwing jabs at him, and Ferguson was like trying to shake it off. So he just had an outstanding performance. He was plus 180 on the money line, so he was pretty a pretty heavy underdog. So he's my goat of the week. Fantastic performance, and I can't wait to see his fight between him and Khabib.
And my goat of the week is going to be Scott Van Pelt. And people who are unfamiliar with that name, he's a host of SportsCenter at night, and he's my goat of the week because ever since COVID has taken away college students' senior seasons, he's had this segment on the show every night where he gives mentions to all the seniors who have lost their senior years and just kind of gives them the recognition they deserve, and being able to hear their names on a SportsCenter, it's really good for them, as well as just, no sports are being played, and he's still showing up at the desk every night, and he's given an hour of his time towards sports. And it's just, you don't see that from a lot of people. So that is the reason why Scott Van Pelt is my goat of the week.
Awesome. Well, that kind of wraps up our first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Shout out to Professor Powers, TBR at Ithaca College.
Jack Powers.
This was actually part of a project too, so just to think of it, he might have started something great.
Yeah. Our Instagram handles are going to be down here. You can follow us on Instagram.
Follow us. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know how
Subscribe
it
to the
is.
YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram at goat_chat. Follow us there, and we'll keep you updated on new episodes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Stay safe and stay healthy.
Yep. Everyone stay healthy. I hope everyone's families are doing good.
Social distance.
Also, happy Mother's Day to all the
Happy
mothers.
Mother's Day.
I forgot to say
Great.
Happy Mother's Day.
that.
You're a little laggy there, bud.
Yeah, my bad.
All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll see you next week.